Hi guys, Gaming Bear here. I've been asked to do a review of the T34-3 by Jimmy Giggles. So Jimmy, this is for you. So, T34-3, it was put in by Wargaming to cover when they decided to take out the Type 59. So looking at the tanks, this is the T34-3 and this is the Type 59. You'll see they're very, very similar. So we'll call up the stats on both vehicles and you can see what the replacement's done. But you also see that the T34-3 has preferential matchmaking, just like the Type 59. So it's the other characteristics which set it apart from the Type 59. And there'll be a link at the end of this video because I've done a mastery and a review of the Type 59 if you want to know more about that tank. So let's get on. So the two guns, you get the 122mm with the 34-3 and the Type 59 gets the 100mm. So you've got the accuracy difference. The dispersion for the 59 is 0.39, aim time 2.9 seconds, whereas the 122 40.46 dispersion and 3.4 second aim time. A lot more accuracy with the Type 59. Now, the ammunition type with the 59, you've got AP and APCR, but with the 34-3, you've got heat, which hasn't got the penetrative ability, it hasn't got the normalization of APCR. So that's another factor. Even though this shows that it's got a penetration of 250mm, the 241 of the Type 59 is better because of the normalization, plus the accuracy and faster firing, a rate of fire of 6.9 rounds a minute, whereas the 122 has only got 4.48. So you've got a less accurate, slower firing gun that is able to just dish out the punishment at a slower rate, hoping to pull back and use the armour to allow you then to be able to dominate the battlefield. But as you can see, it's coming out in a similar way to the Type 59 damage-wise, but on a win rate level, it's not coming out of it. So let's look at why this isn't as good as the Type 59, even though I've heard recently that they're going to be buffing this and they're going to be adjusting the gun depression. So Type 59 gun depression, we're looking -7 and an elevation of 20 degrees. With the 34-3, you're looking 3 degrees and 15 degrees of elevation. So the significantly wider abilities of the 59 to be able to bring that gun to bear than the 34-3. You've got to put yourself in positions where you can be damaged more easily to bring the gun to bear, because you've got one single shot, you've got to aim for longer, you've got to jeopardize your position and allow the enemy to get more shots back at you. The armor itself is 190 on the turret, 90 on the front of the hull, whereas the 59, the armor value, you're looking 200mm on the turret and 100mm on the front plate. That 10mm may not seem like a lot of difference, but it makes the difference between life and death of these two tanks. The 34-3 needs to stay in a dangerous position for longer. Its armor's not as good. So now let's look at the power to weight ratio to see about maneuverability around the battlefield. The 59 has got a power to weight of 14.27. The 34-3 has got a power to weight of 14.44. So the power to weight is approximately the same. Top speed of 50. In comparison to the top speed of 56 of the Type 59. So you can see that yes, it's got the power to weight ratio, but the top speed is down in comparison to the Type 59. Plus the armor not being as good, and the fact that you need to jeopardize its put it in positions where it can be damaged more easily because it has to wait longer for this big derp gun to be able to fire. Now, getting in and sticking this in someone's face, pulling the trigger, can stop that happening. So let's get into a game and see about the derp factor of this, how you can play it to be able to be effective, get in their face, fire at close range, destroy them, and pull back. Let's look at the DPM. So the DPM, we're looking 1724, whereas the 34-3, you're looking 1746. So it's about 22 more, which is neither here nor there. Okay, let's look at the armor profile. From the front, if you're looking over a ridge at someone, this is what they would face. An upper plate from 174mm, going up to about 194, 195mm. The lower plate, which should be hidden but may not be, is from 110 to about 127, 128. The side, 94mm, chance of potentially being penetrated here, but if you get further back, it's a ricochet because of the angling, right the way across the side of the tank. There's an area here which, from these angles, are also a ricochet. So if you can get this sort of an angle, you will have from 75mm of armour, but you'll have this weak spot here. The turret, you're looking effectively 255mm around the mantle. The same on the other side. Very, very good protection. The sides of the cheeks, very good from this angle. The cupola, you're looking at about 185 to 100, almost 200mm, which is good on this side. But the other side is a weak spot, 48mm, but it's a very small target. So if you can fire over a ridge, do it this way. But normally you're looking up at people, or else it's on a slope going up. So as if you're firing up, this is what they would have. From that angle, they would see the top of your turret more often. So from there, a larger target, potentially they can overmatch the top of the tank. Into the cupola, this side, it's a more difficult position. They wouldn't want to aim for that. But your front plate goes from 147 to 160mm, so it's more easy to penetrate. The sides are still very, very strong. And if it's a German tank firing at you, they'll have an angle like this. So they'll see this area, which is easily overmatched. The top of the turret, very easily overmatched. So you've got to watch out for German tanks and anything else that can get around you. But it's quite mobile, so that's not much of a problem. So if you're up against a German tank, pull back, use the gun, stay at range so they can't fire down on you more easily. So stay at range, and it'll allow you to change the gun position to allow you to be able to shoot them from range and maximise your armour efficiency. So that's the best way of using this tank. Stay at enough range, poke over, don't get into a brawling fight with tanks of your own height. Don't get into brawling fights with German tanks which can fire straight down on your weak cupola and the top of the turret. Otherwise it's very strong, so you've got to learn these things. As you saw with the gun depression, you don't want to be up on a ridge with a steep slope, otherwise you just won't be able to bring the gun to bear. So let's carry on with the review. Yeah, okay, see what the 34-3 is like. Oh, straight in. Where are we going? Right, tundra. A hill on one side, but we don't really want to be up the hill. So let's see what we can do. Opposite numbers of T34. Interesting. Right, let's go to the hill anyway, so I can show you what the gun depression is really like, or how bad it really is. So let's get over towards the hill and see what we can do with this, but it's not very good. So that's something you've got to work around. So if I can show you in this review the issues, the good points and the bad points in one single game, I'm going to try and do it. So yes, hills are not a good idea for this tank. Hopefully I don't really get to show you how bad it can be, because that would mean I'd die too quick. But as you can see, the mobility is quite good. Keeping up with the light tanks, it's very effective. No arty.
Ready to fire. Enemy is hit.
So helping the team.
Target unlocked.
But you've got to let it aim, and that's one issue. So the aim time is quite an issue, and that's with a gun rammer on this tank ready. Let's wait for him to come round. Pull back a bit. See, you saw the gun depression is an issue.
Enemy armor is hit.
Just keep the gun singing. About 10.25 second reload on this. 10.8 seconds. Let's just keep them under observation. Do what we can do. Pin them down. And someone camping. Great.
Critical hit.
Not quite enough. Just slightly out of position. trying to hold them.
One of our gas tanks ruptured. We're low on fuel. Penetration.
Yeah, you've got to be out of position to allow you to use the gun. If you're too far back, you can't use the gun. If you're too far forward, everything's penetrating you. So you need to be on level ground to maximise your efficiency. Oh, couldn't quite. And that was the thing. I was trying to get it to aim, and it wasn't quite quick enough. And damage, 1127. So this is what you can expect. This is how the tank performs. This is what it's really like. You're not able to bring the gun to bear when you need it. And the rest of the time, well, it's quite good, mobile, but when you get into a fight like that on a hill, you can't make the most of the armour. Because to use the gun, you've got to jeopardise your position, like I was saying. So let's have a look at the post-game stats. WN8 of 1128, 43%, not as good as it could be. So some people are doing some really good scores on this. So a defeat, 333 experience, 39,000 credits, 1127 damage. Let's see how we actually did it and how we compared to the team. Oh, a lot of players not doing as well as they could. So came third on damage, and experience-wise, about third again. So details: 4 shots, 4 hits, 3 penned. Which you saw we hit the track of that light tank. Bit sad. It was standard AP, slightly badly aimed. Took 4 shots, all 4 penned because you couldn't move into a spot to better use the armor effectively. And it's a situational tank, and like I showed, you don't want to be on hills. You want to be able to use it down on the flat, bring the gun to bear, and allow you to get the gun elevation and get somewhere that you can use that frontal armour and the turret armour effectively. Whereas hills aren't really the place, so you need to be further back, either firing up or on level ground, or just a slight incline, so it suits the tank better. But you can still come out with, as you saw, 39,000 credits, leaving you with 28,250 credits on a lost game, but it's able to deal some damage. So 1100 on a loss, give you experience of 303 plus a 10% bonus for 333 experience. So it's a nice general tank. It's not one that sets the world alight. The gun depression is quite an issue, whereas the T34 for similar sorts of money is hands down far better, because you can use the turret and you've got the gun depression, whereas this has got a good turret, okay frontal armor when you use it effectively, but it's difficult to get into a position to use it effectively when you've got this amount of 10.8 second reload on a tank. So in between shots, your mobility is an issue. You're pulling back, you're waiting, pushing up to get the shot, and then you've got that aim time. The aim time is the killer with this tank. Combining that with the armor, the lack of gun depression makes this into a situation, whereas the T59 gets the wins, this gets the losses because it's not as tactically efficient as the Type 59. If you're not in the right position, your enemy knows how to use the tank. They know the strengths and weaknesses of yours, so they're not going to play your game. They're going to go into positions that pulls you out of your comfort zones and negates your armor and gun advantage. The gun is very punchy, but it takes a long time to aim. So if you've got a clever opponent, they can outmaneuver you more easily because there are less parts of the battlefield that you can use this tank, whereas they can have the advantage by making you out of position. And that's what makes this lose more games, even though it's doing a higher DPM, high damage per game than the Type 59. Because of it being out of position more often and unable to use the armor effectively to allow you to win, you're constantly at a disadvantage with this tank, which is part of why it's not seen as a good tank, because sadly it isn't. So it needs to be in the right situation to allow it to be effective. You saw the damage that it did. It's fine as a damage dealer, but it takes too much damage because it's got to be out of position for too long to bring the gun to bear on your opponents while you're waiting for it to aim. So sadly, I can't really recommend this tank as it is, but once it's been buffed, I think that'll make with the additional gun depression, I think that will really make a difference. So fingers crossed that's going to happen, but at the moment I wouldn't recommend this tank unless you can stay down in the valley and all of your enemies make sure they work with you. But I don't think your enemy's going to help you that way. So for now, this is not a good tank. Hope you liked the review. I'm the Gaming Bear, so see you on the next one. Cheers, guys.